VR, specifically PlayStation VR. I've had it for like about 3 years. It's sort of just something. It's one of these things you just want to buy if you see it cheap, you know. Especially considering it's nearly 10 fucking years old now. Like Jesus Christ. I know exactly one other person who has a PlayStation VR. I mean, they must have sold all right. I mean, VR, PSVR games are kind of common, kind of cheap. There's kind of a lot of them. But yeah, it's probably like realistically every year. It's probably like a yearly thing of VR setup. Because my fucking god, is there a lot of setup. As you can see by my pained, silent torment that I was going through. The setup is a fucking pain. Which I guess makes sense because maybe the PS4 wasn't always built to run VR. Basically, you got the headset and you got like two HDMI cables that you put into a little splitter box, and then that splitter box goes into like this processor unit box. This kind of looks like a small PlayStation 4. It's actually kind of cool. But I like that they just thought, fuck it, the PlayStation VR processor unit that needs a power supply. It probably has processing power. Obviously, it's probably like a mini sort of supplementary console. It was like, fuck it, it's a small PS4. Why not? And then one HDMI port from that unit has to go into a TV, and then the other HDMI port goes into the PS4, and there's also an extra USB cable you put in the front. So it is a whole fucking thing. It is a whole rigmarole. It is a setup that you better be wanting to use all day, because it is a lot. It is a good half an hour setup. And I even had a fucking little bit of receipt paper that I wrote instructions on to myself, and it didn't help that much, really. But still, I guess that's to be expected. You know, it is VR, it is fancy. So the setup is a pain in the ass, but, you know, it's kind of worth it. It's kind of worth it. You gotta make it worth it, though. I only have like 4 PlayStation VR games. Well, to be fair, I think every PS4 comes pre-installed with VR Playroom, which I completely forgot. Yeah, there's like every PS4 comes pre-installed with like this little game bundle of little VR demos. It's kind of cool. And this might have been one of the earliest appearances of Astro Boy. Astrobot, not Astro Boy. He's been around. He's been around a bit longer than that. No, correct me if I'm wrong. Modern PlayStation fans, I'm not really like up to speed on like modern PlayStation lore, but I think Astrobot. He's kind of. This might have been his first appearance, and it's just like, yeah, here's just like a bunch of mini games. There's this just to show off the VR, you know. You've got like a first-person turret defense style thing. You know, something where you're like a cat behind a curtain and you're trying to like catch mice. A lot of these seem to be multiplayer. So one person plays with the VR headset on, and the feed that comes out on the regular TV, everyone else kind of plays along with. I don't have anyone else with me, so I could not do that. But that's kind of cool. That's kind of like a Wii U gamepad type multiplayer party switch up setup kind of cool thing. There's one where you're Godzilla and you smash up buildings by tilting your head, and that's all that you do in the VR part. But it feels cool because you just like, you know, snap your neck flailing around your head with this big fucking VR headset on, smashing up buildings with your cranium. Like Bonk, hey, shout out to Bonk, love that guy. Yeah, most of these tech demo minigame things are kind of, the only gameplay is just move your head, which is fair, you know, because that is, you know, the whole thing with VR, moving your head, right? There's one that's a full-blown platformer, and you kind of need the PlayStation, the regular old PS4 controller with, and you just kind of play it, you're just playing a platformer in VR, and it kind of feels like, what's the point? But also, it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of cool, you get some cool camera angles. It uses the camera positioning, the unique VR-centric camera angles, kind of cool. That is a fun one. That is quite a fun platformer. But yeah, most of these are fairly simple little tech demo mini games, but you know, they're pretty good fun. For free, considering they're probably on your PS4 whether you want them or not, or even aware of them being there, you know. Pretty good starting point for VR, I will say. Pretty good fun. In a similar vein to that is VR Worlds, which you actually had to buy this game, I think, but it still feels like a tech demo kind of thing. It's like a compilation of 5 VR experiences developed by Sony London or some shit. I didn't know. I didn't know they bothered to put people from Sony here in Britain, but apparently we do. So yeah, they're fairly simple VR experiences. There's like a cool underwater ambient thing. There's like you're rolling down the hill on that little like skateboard, the bodyboard thing. I don't know what the fuck it's called. I forget. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun arcadey feel. I love the fucking weird 3D space Coliseum Pong. Breakout Pong combat VR shit looks awesome, very simple, very addictive. That shit is fun, and smacking a virtual ball with your face feels really good. And then there's the 2 actual like fairly fleshed out games. One's like a Scavenger's Odyssey. It's like a space mecha first-person shooter thing, and you jump in zero gravity on all sorts of big meteors. Kind of doesn't really go anywhere. It's kind of got like a cool, mysterious space prophecy type plot. But this one made me feel sick. This is like the one thing I played that really made me feel like I was gonna fucking throw up. Like, there's just so much camera movement. I think the star of the attraction is probably the London heist, where it's like a first-person gun, kind of shoot things in first person. Yeah, very cool. Very cool, very gritty. I like that they're like, we have VR now, what are we going to show people in VR? Let's make a fat bald bloke threaten you at like fucking blowtorch point in some London basement. That's great. I love being shouted at by this fucking baldy over here, it's great. Wow, of all things, if this wasn't in this game, they could have sold this as like for anyone. They specifically made VR Worlds a 15 just to put in their gritty VR London heist shooter thing. It's pretty good actually. The guns feel cool. Surprisingly feel really accurate with your VR, with no like with no laser, like with no targeting, with no crosshair. Actually feels really good. It actually feels really natural. VR gun combat kind of slaps. And it's kind of got a bit of like you're sitting still and you've got to solve like a little escape roomy puzzle type thing in moments. Kind of like that one spy game that my one other friend who has PlayStation VR made me play. Willingly, it was a good game. I Expect You to Die, I think that's what it's called. It's like the goofy escape room spy shenanigans VR shit. Very good fun. I also played the Iron Man VR game and the Spider-Man one. They're kind of fun just because there's just, woo, you're a superhero. Go fucking fly around and shit, bro. Go fucking swing on the webs. Whoa. Pretty good time. Pretty good fun. Oh, there's also, yeah, a lot of the VR games, they're sort of VR compatible, not VR required. Some require it. Some can be like, fuck it, just play it without VR. Like this one Star Wars dogfighter game, like aerial combat. I'm not usually a big fan of like 3D aerial like ship combat. I'm much more of a shmups guy personally, but Star Wars ones I can actually get behind just because I'm a big Star Wars nerd. This one's pretty good. This one's cool. It feels really Star Wars. It feels like it. The atmosphere is right. Looking around at that Star Wars cockpit in VR is actually really cool. But apart from that, it just kind of feels like, you know, every other sort of first-person space roamy shooty dogfighter type game. I never know what to call these games, but they're fucking everywhere. And, you know, they're fine. They're not my favourite, but there's an appeal in a Star Wars VR one, absolutely. So this is a pretty good get. Also, shout out to that Toho Kabuta Burst Battle 5, or whatever the fuck it's called. That's VR compatible. That is my first Toho experience. Yeah, I've somehow I've just avoided, not intentionally avoided Toho. I've never stumbled into Toho until this game. I don't know why it's in VR. It's like a weird one-on-one sort of bullet hell fighting game. Not really like combos and smooth, more like simple schmuppy dodging and schmuppy bullet hell one-on-one fighting game. I don't know what to call it. The gameplay speaks for itself probably, and for some reason there's a VR mode. It's not even like first person. The VR just means that you see the game in VR and you can like move your head around if you don't want to use the camera, if you don't want to use the R stick, which is so much easier and less headache inducing. But there you go. There you go. I really want to experience some actual real Toho now, because, you know, Toho is massively aggressively appealing to me in every way. No surprises. Frankly, it's a surprise I haven't become a disgusting, greasy, sweaty Toho fan by this point, but maybe this is the start of that. Maybe VR Toho is what will get me addicted to the series. But it's fine. It's kind of a fun concept. I kind of like what it's going for. Toho girls, woo yeah, VR. I'm not sure why it is in. That is my conclusion. And lastly, honestly, I think my favorite game is just Fruit Ninja. Fruit Ninja VR is really fun. Because if you have the Move controllers, the PlayStation Move controllers, which feel like Wiimotes, but heavier and cooler, with a nice trigger on the back, nice buttons on the front, they feel nice, have a nice form factor to them. They feel like you're hoarding. They feel like you're hoarding, yes, because I have so much dog shit like this. But they feel, those Move controllers, like you're holding a sword. So to then actually hold, not just one, but 2 katana in my fucking hands and slice up a bunch of fruit is so stupid and so fun. And the physics, the slicing, the precision it's got, you can slice it like the corner, through the middle, you get bonus points if you cut right through the middle, you can stab the fruit, get them stuck on your sword, you can just toss them away. The physics are fun to play with, it is a cathartic little time waster. I loved Fruit Ninja as a kid. Shout out to playing Fruit Ninja in 2008 on your auntie's iPhone, probably like original iPhone. Shout out to that. I fucking love Fruit Ninja. Fruit Ninja slaps. And it's pretty much just regular Fruit Ninja, but it's in VR, and you use PlayStation Move controllers as swords to slice the fruit, and it just feels fucking cool. Alright, this is a high recommendation here. This is literally my favorite thing. It's my fucking favorite thing in VR. And it's just it's a VR phone game, but it's just fun, and it's cathartic. And that's kind of what VR should be. Because if you're sitting there, even if you don't get motion sick, which I do for some things, but not too much, even without the motion sickness, the headaches, the eye strain, you're sitting there with this heavy fucking helmet on your head. Even for half an hour, you get sweaty and uncomfortable and hot under the collar, and you just don't want to do this anymore. So VR kind of does work better for small little bite-sized arcadey type experiences, more so than a big, like, proper meaty, big budget experience. I don't think I'd want to sit down and play a big budget game in VR, like something story driven. Nah, unless it was cool and visceral and like London Heist with a big fucking sweaty man threatening me and shouting in my face in person in VR. I guess one benefit to PlayStation VR specifically is that you sort of you'll need the camera. PlayStation Move on PS3, the Wii rival that no one remembers and was probably actually the best one from that era. Out of Kinect and Wii, PlayStation Move actually is really accurate and actually feels really cool. Having VR though, you're probably going to get the Move controllers and the camera. You need the camera. So you might as well start collecting for your PS3 Move collection now if you have VR, which is kind of a nice crossover. Because the way that the VR works is that it detects the lights. There's loads of blue lights on around the VR visor, similar to the LED that's on the PS4 controller. And the PlayStation camera just looks at that, gets a feed for whatever's going through the PlayStation processor, VR processor unit thing, and then just puts it together and it's like, okay, I guess you're moving this way. So it's pretty much the camera is looking at the VR headset's lights and kind of detecting from there how to move and shit. And I don't know what all the HDMI cables in the processor unit are really needed for, but hey, it's cool that it all kind of just boils down to lights and cameras and lenses and just tracking shit in the end. Kind of fancy. I mean, VR after all is just like one image in one eye, one image in the other eye, just tricking your brain's depth perception, and it does feel fucking cool. Like when you start using it, when I made my mum play VR, for example, if it's your first time experiencing it, you will be like, whoa, this feels like a real space that I can touch. And you'll try and touch like the little robot guys at your feet and shit. You'll wave at passers-by in VR. and you'll get scared when there's a big rock coming towards your face, etc. But it's not real, obviously. But the sense of depth is there, and it is very cool. It's a very cool feeling. But yeah, I mean, if you have a PSVR, it's kind of half the set. In fact, it's all of the setup you need for all those old PS3 Move games. So might as well get onto collecting all that PlayStation Move content, because there's a fucking ton of it, surprisingly, considering no one talks about it. Everyone had a Wii, and everyone remembers the Kinect, but no one gives a shit about PS Move on PS3. It was pretty good though. It seems fucking good. It seems like the best one. So thanks to PSVR for showing me that one. Yeah, I really want to play Super Hot. Super Hot's like the one game in VR I actually really want to look out. Just because Fruit Ninja made me realise that first person VR, dual wielding katanas and shit, that's just what I want from VR. I want to feel cool and do cool sword tricks and shoot things and cool combo, gunslinger, swordplay, first person shit. That's what I want from VR. And PSVR definitely feels very good for that. Because the Move controllers are really built for the simple motion control type shit like that. I have played some PC VR with a friend. I think the Facebook Meta original Oculus. That is it. Oculus Rift. I forget that fucking thing. But PC is more what VR tends to tailor more for. No one seems to care about like console VR so much. It's more just like a curious little novelty, which VR kind of is in general anyway. But I've played Ace Combat. I played VR Ace Combat and it fucking killed me nearly. But good game. Very cool game. VR rally games. I want to play like an arcadey racing game in VR. Imagine, if you will, just give me Daytona USA VR. US Aver? US Aver. Yes, Daytona US Aver. Give me that, please. Thank you. So yeah. The setup is a fucking nightmare, but if you can get PlayStation VR, it's pretty cheap, because like I say, novelty, passing interest, but it is very cool, and if you just want to experience VR, it's very cheap. Probably, for the quality of the equipment and how good the build is on it, it's probably a lot cheaper than similar like quality VR headsets on PC, even though PC ones obviously you can get a lot more out of, because it's PC, you can do anything. It's the simplicity and just the novelty still makes PlayStation VR very valuable, I would say. And PSVR games are fucking cheap. I guess there's a smaller budget because the games tend to be less processing heavy, less big games, because there's, they're having to render shit twice because it's VR. Even if you're buying them all new from the digital storefront, PSVR games seem to be pretty cheap, which is a nice bonus, a nice incentive to those of us who are poor. Anyway, I think that's all I got to say. The actual feel of the VR headset is pretty comfy. It's kind of a bit awkward to get on and off any VR headset, I guess, is like that, especially if you've got like a fuck ton of hair or like a very comically large head. But in the actual, like the visor feels quite nice. The soft rubber around your eyes, your face feels sweaty, but it's not too heavy. There's a nice sort of plush leathery bit pushing against your forehead. So they made it as comfy as they could, and I think it actually looks really cool as well, the PSVR, with all its lights for the sensors, for the camera. When you're holding those Move controllers, you got that even the regular PS4 controller and a headset on, all the blue neon LED lights truly do make you feel like the future is here, bitch. And I'm gonna need a fuck lot more Pepto-Bismol if that's the case. So yeah, do I recommend VR? If it looks like you'd find it funny, yes. Otherwise, also yes, but reluctantly. I really like VR. And PlayStation VR is solid. Solid time, awkward setup. I think it's worth it though. You just gotta spend a day. Give yourself a whole day. One day a year. One annual day a year to VR. I think is enough for anyone. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, there you go. I'm an idiot. I like PlayStation VR. I hope you liked this video. I thank you for watching, goodbye, good night, and I don't know, I'll see you sometime soon. Okay, bye. This is just like Evangelion.